Hi there, Clare Winslow here to show you reduction Linocut printing today. And we are going to do a 3-color print using an image of a Day of the Dead skull and a 4x6 block. And this is a really fun technique. It requires a little bit of patience, but it's super rewarding. So the main thing you need is an image printed to size. So this is smaller than 4x6. And I've traced the printout onto another sheet of paper, and I'm making a color guide for myself because I'm going to be cutting away from the block as I print 3 colors, and I need to have some direction as to which way to go, and I want that all planned out before I start cutting. So this is simply my map that shows that I have orange, blue, and black. Oh, and area around the skull, that will be black too. Alright, so this is a beautiful technique. It's not hard at all, and it's very satisfying, but it does take a little bit of patience and planning. Okay, so there's my rough color scheme. It just shows me what direction to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is to transfer the image to the block, and if you have transfer paper, that works great. If you don't have that, you can use a DIY method of simply turning your image over and using your graphite pencil to shade the back of the paper. So just get plenty of graphite on there. We'll be using that to transfer your image. Alright, that looks pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so once you have that graphite on there, you're going to turn it over and place it on the block where you want it to be located. I made registration marks, but they're not exact, so I'm sort of ignoring them and just ballparking it. But once you place the sheet down, make sure you hold it down with your other hand so that it doesn't move. That's important. So now I'm just using my pencil and holding down the sheet with my left hand. With my right hand, I'm using the pencil to simply outline all the lines and the shapes. And this way I have a guide of where to cut. Alright, so that could take a few minutes, hopefully not too long. And then once you have that, we'll start talking about what we're going to cut first. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but it is transferring to the block. Just trying to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. You can also use a pen to do this. It won't hurt the block at all. If you wanted to use a pen of a different color, that would work too. Almost there. Alright, so that's what it should look like. It's basically an outline of all your elements in your design. Okay, and then the next thing is you need to plan out your colors. So I took my printout to the window with another sheet of paper and I traced the areas that I want to be orange, which is going to be the first color that I print. And as you can see, I have an orange plan. So I have made a plan for all the colors: orange, blue, and black. But the thing to wrap your head around is, first I'm going to be cutting the areas that I want to be white. Okay, and then once I do that, I'm going to print with my first color, which is orange. This is showing you what the white areas are. I'm going to color this in with my Sharpie just so that I'm really careful to know where to cut. Now I'm going to mark on my plate with the Sharpie which areas I'm going to cut out first. And it may seem like an extra step, but I find it helpful when you're first getting going with Linocut printing. Later you might not need to do this, but it is helpful right now. This is just using any Sharpie or black paint marker. It will not affect your printing, so you don't have to worry that it's going to get in the way of your ink, because you're going to be cutting most of this off, so don't worry about that. And I don't need to show you all this. I'll show you the finished result of this. And now I've written white on there, so now I know I'm going to cut out all of those black areas, and that is going to reveal the white of my paper when I print. So we're using a tool from Speedball here, readily available at most art suppliers, and it's for Linocut, and it usually comes with several blades. I'm going to start with a more narrow blade, and we're just going to cut kind of the outline of the shapes, and later we can switch to a wider blade, but right now we're going to use kind of a narrow one, and it's just to get the hang of the outline of the shape. Some people will do like this. They'll use their other hand to kind of guide the tool so that it helps you stop it from slipping. One thing about Linocut is the tool can slip, so you don't want that to happen if possible. You don't need to put a lot of pressure or dig down deep. If your tools are sharp, you shouldn't have to work too hard, and you do want to keep them sharp. You can get special sharpening tools or a stone for that. I'm just somewhat gently going around, and I can't repeat often enough to please cut away from yourself, because you don't want lots of blood in the process. No, seriously though, please be careful when you cut. This part could take a while because I have so much white in my design. I would anticipate that this cutting process will take me about maybe 30 minutes. So I'm going to speed up the video and meet you on the other side. We'll get ready to print. Here I've got it all cut for the white layer, and I'm just making a registration area. This is a preview of where we're headed, which will be orange on the plate. And right now I'm making a registration area on a piece of paper that's the same size as most of my prints will be. So I just drew a pencil line around the block to indicate where to put the block, because I am going to be moving them around quite a bit. And I'm using tape, and I'm simply going to use a very simple DIY registration, which is to tape the top sheet that I'm going to be printing onto to match up with the bottom sheet. Now if you want more precise registration, you can build a jig, what's called a jig. I haven't done that in this video, but I can show you how to do that in a future video. So right now we're just using a really simple kind of quick DIY method. All right, we're getting ready to print here using orange Speedball block printing ink, and just a coffee stirrer to kind of warm up the ink and get it ready, and a CD cover in lieu of a plexiglass plate. You could also use wax paper to do this. You want a thin smooth layer onto your brayer, and preferably avoid little bumps and pieces of lino getting in the way of your printing. So a smooth, thin layer works best. Do not put globby, thick layers of ink. That won't work. So be delicate with your ink handling. All right, and we're ready to go. So we've got our paper ready. And I'm just going to roll the paper over the top, and I'm going to use the flat side of the back side of my wood spoon. If you have a Barron, you can use that too, but I'm just using what I have at hand. A big wood spoon works well, and you don't want to get into the grooves or the dips in your block. You just want to make contact with the flat areas where the ink is. So you don't need a lot of pressure for this. It's mainly just remembering to get everywhere. You can take a peek if you like. Looks good. All right, that's your first printed layer. The first one is usually a little rough, so they get smoother as you keep going. So now I'm going to do a whole bunch of these in orange because I'm going to do an addition. And I'm not showing you that because I want to move on to the next color. Next is going to be blue, and so I am indicating which areas I want to keep orange. And everywhere that I want to keep orange, I'm going to color with a Sharpie right now, because I'm going to cut those away. And I will use, I've got two different tools going, a narrow one and a wider one. Use whichever one you want. I think I'm using a narrower one to get some of these little small areas. Oh, here's a preview of where we're going. This shouldn't take too long because, as I said, I've cut most of the white areas and I've cut the bigger areas out already. You're going to love this when it's finished. It's really rewarding process. And I like the whole DIY look of it. I'm going to apply my blue color, blue-green. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this blue-green, how that's going to mix with the orange. So this part's experimental, and I think I'll try it, see how it looks, and if I don't like it, I can change colors midstream. So you can clean off your block, stop what you're doing, clean off your block, and try a different color. So let's see how this blue-green works with the orange. It looks good. It's a little subtle right now. Kind of like the blue and the orange together. But we're going to be adding black to this, don't forget. So I decided from the test there's a little too much blue coming off onto the print in the flower area, so I did some more cutting. There's very little left to go now. Indicating the areas with Sharpie that I want to keep blue. And this part should be pretty easy. Last color, which is black. We're doing a few areas in the skull face and then the background. And all the colors are going to mix in the background. You know, you'll see, which is kind of cool. You'll see a little bit of orange, a little bit of blue, and the black on top. And it's that characteristic look of the modeling texture, the mottled texture, which I kind of like. You could certainly get more precise with the colors, but I really like the slightly roughened handmade look these days. And that looks good. So you can see that's how you get multiple colors. I hope you try this at home, and please subscribe for more art videos.